Hello everyone, Professor Arnelene Torres here for the continuation of our discussion about collaboration, technology, and experiences. So, as you remember, we did not finish the discussion, and instead, we only, I think, covered one third of the lecture in relation to collaboration, technology, and experiences. And just to connect to the last lesson that we've had. So we studied a case that talks about the mega alliances, and these are SkyTeam, Star Alliance, and One World. So we look at these three mega airline alliances, and what we did is to analyze how they practice collaboration. So we've said that collaboration was done when they formed alliances as one mega airline alliance. And it seems that this activity benefits both the member airlines as well as the consumers. And so I don't want to repeat what we talked about. I'm just reminding you that this is actually what we have taken as a case study for collaboration. So we've said that most of the airline companies opted to have an alliance. It's because of having to have the access to huge networks in the global market. And also, they believe that once they join this alliance, they can increase market reach through alliance partnerships. On top of that, they can enjoy cost savings by sharing airport spaces with other SkyTeam airline members. And most importantly, they optimize the utilization of their resources, including check in and ticketing areas, launch facilities, and even ground handling staff, which consequently leads to the significant reduced cost. Now, for the passengers, how do they benefit from this collaboration activity of this mega airlines? So they have access to, you know, priority check-in, priority baggage handling, and the alliance can provide them with better services if the airline that they choose is a member of the collaborative alliance. And so we can see how beautiful the idea of collaboration is, not only for stakeholders but also for the main actors of the tourism ecosystem. Then we move on to the topic about forces driving collaboration. So why do have companies collaborate? Of course, we know that competition should is there, but just the same, aside from direct competitors, as we say, because these are all airline companies, but they also see the beauty of these collaborations. So the different forces that drives their collaborating activity is first, continuing competitive nature of the global markets. So we can see that there's a lot of global trade deals, there are numerous global networks, political institutions, and distribution channels. Also, the advances in information technology, communication methods, and distribution methods. And it is predicted that in the future, organizations will no longer only be judged on the quality of their concepts and competencies, but also their connections. So they are preparing towards that time wherein people will really be looking for more benefits due to collaboration. Then we look at the theories of collaboration. We said that what's the reason behind collaboration? And we found out that there are three reasons why organizations collaborate. Of course, I did use the airline industry, but this is not only present in the airline industry. There can also be a consortium within the restaurant industry. There can be partnerships, or I would say collaboration in other industries that are within tourism and hospitality. And these are the three reasons why they collaborate. And we know that these reasons are the theories of collaboration. First is the resource dependency theory. So here, organizations need of the resource endowments of others to succeed. So the idea is if you have a limited resource, let's say for example, you don't have enough aircraft, I mean, or you don't have enough space to accommodate people for check-in, then the best way would be to be part of this collaboration theme, of this collaboration team, and really avail of the resources of other airlines. Then whatever you have, you can share it also with them. So in this case, we can say that this resource dependency theory is not a one-sided objective, but instead it is a relational exchange theory. So in other words, it's a win-win thing, or this happens for a mutual advantage of those who are entering into a collaborative activity. And most importantly, if you are in the business, you are always concerned about money, okay? And you always would like to maximize the revenue that you can get in a fair way, okay? And so, what comes in here is the transaction cost theory, wherein the actual cost of conducting business is reduced if undertaken in a collaborative manner. So previously, during our class discussion, we have seen how this benefits by explaining to you like two aircrafts going to the same destination, both of them not having a full capacity, and both of them will also be spending for the fuel charge. Now, what if only one airline will fly and either airline A or airline B would accommodate the people from another airline? Anyway, they are flying in the same destination, and maybe there's only a small time difference, okay? So what they can do would be to save cost for both of them, would be to agree who will be going to that destination and who will be receiving the passengers from another airline. Okay? So they both win in a sense that they only have to charge both aircraft for one fuel cost. Maybe those people that were transferred to the aircraft that will be flying to the final destination can charge probably the passengers per head who will be accommodated in their flight. Okay, and so we can say that the self-interest here is best served by the adoption of joint, collaborative working strategies built on trust and commitment. The number one thing that every organization needs to have when they enter a collaborative activity is to trust. Okay? Because if you do not trust and you always think of things that is negative or against those partners or maybe members of that collaborative network, then it's something that will not be beneficial to you. But if you think that you're willing to trust the partners or the members of the other airline companies, and you commit also that if in case they need you, then this is when collaboration works. Okay? So I guess this does not only apply to airline companies or maybe to businesses, but this can probably be applied to you. How the beauty of having relationship, the beauty of the advantage of collaborating with other people in terms of productive pursuits. Okay, so yeah, think about that. So instead of competing with others, why not try to collaborate? Because the in thing now, as we move towards the 21st century, is not competition. the buzzword now is the opposite of competition, which is collaboration. And then we also move to the motives for collaboration. Why these members are really interested to collaborate. And according to Fayel and Garrod of 2005, first is they need to build an expanded customer base. So they would want their companies to get more customer. And so probably the advertisement that will be done for all the members will benefit them. Then we also have the access to new and or more distant markets. So how does this happen? Access to new markets would mean probably you're not flying on that route, but probably because you are a member of that alliance, then probably they can share with you the route, especially if there's a big demand. Okay, then the need to protect existing markets. So how do we protect existing markets? Sometimes, flights are not all the same or does not reach the same destination. And so what you can do here to protect the existing market would be to let the market trust the members of that alliance so that they can, patronize and probably buy seats from them. Okay? Then we also have product related motivation. So when we say product related motivation, we're thinking uh, of something that will benefit our product, or maybe in terms of the airline industry, the services, the need to fill the gaps in the current market line. So there might be gaps, like for example, as I've said, there might be a shortage of flight. Okay, and so you can probably fit into that. So that benefits the organization as well as you, because you will be having the opportunity to, um, be part of the revenue generating businesses, and also to broaden product portfolio, differentiate or add value to a product. Now, may I share with you that about product related motivation, like collaboration, I would like to give an example of collaboration in the hotel industry. So how do people, or how do hoteliers or hospitality business would collaborate? Like for example, you are in one geographic unit. Let's say, let me use my country's capital as an example. Like for example, in Manila, we have several chain of hotels there, and sometimes during peak season, uh, most hotels would be full, but others are usually not able to have 100% occupancy. And so, what usually, and also another fact that I would like to share with you is it's a practice of the hotel industry to overbook. Why? Let's say for example you have 100 rooms. You don't book only, or you don't sell only 100 rooms, but instead you sell 110 rooms. So how's that? I mean, you only have 100 but you're selling 110. That is the 10% allowance for those guests who will not be able to fulfill their commitment, like the reservation. That is also for those people who cannot come or will be canceling reservation. And so, if you do not have an allowance for selling your rooms, then definitely you will be in a loss, because we say that in the hotel, a loss of sales today will be a loss of sales forever. Meaning to say, you cannot go back to what has been lost yesterday. So say for example, yesterday you only have a 50% room occupancy. And so that means to say, if you have 100 room, that's just 50% sales, okay? So you cannot say that, okay, tomorrow I'll try to overbook. by 50. You cannot do that because you have a limited capacity of guests. And so that's why collaboration works here in terms of the rooms. Why? Because the other hotel, like for example, it so happened that you overbooked and that you have accepted 100 guests for 110 guests for 100 rooms. And if all of them will come, what will you do? You cannot ask your guests, "Excuse me, can you share because you're only one and you have a twin bed in your room?" That's not possible. So the only thing possible would be to bump them. We call it bumping. To bump them to another hotel. Not hotel having the same standard as yours, or it should be higher. Because if it's just the same standard of yours, the guest will not complain. If it's higher, then the guest would feel that, okay, I get more value than this, but never, never in a lower standard hotel. And yeah, so this is an arrangement. And if in case that hotel is still, I would say they can still accommodate some guests, then what will the primary hotel will do would be to, to transport them to that other hotel. So that's the beauty of having collaborated with the hotels within the local area. And as I've said, broaden product portfolio. How do you do that? By offering more products. Like for example, you say going back to the airline, we offer now a connection because sometimes airlines do have a limited destination and they cannot go that far. But if in case you have a loyalty to that airline, and if they say we are now connected with, like for example, Korean Air or Asiana, and then that broadens their product portfolio in a sense that their usual flights has been expanded. Okay? And then differentiate or add value to a product. So imagine if you alone is offering mileage, and imagine if an alliance would offer mileage. So if in case you will be booking a flight and you're after the mileage redemption, what will you choose? You cannot be loyal into one airline because not I would say that not all destinations are served by that specific airline. They have boundaries, they have limitations. I think they also get, like for example, like a uh, a uh, a route that are usually given to them. Like for example, they will say, "Oh, that airline does not fly in here." Okay. Then motivations relating to market research. So if they're interested to know the behavior of their market, their preferences, and how do they do the buying activity, then the report can be shared to the members. And last, use of resources more efficiently, reduce levels of risk, and enhance skills level. So again, we see the beauty or the what prompts them to collaborate with other organizations. Okay, moving on, we have different types of collaboration. So what are the different types of collaboration? We have here horizontal, vertical, diagonal, short term, medium term, and long term. So the horizontal, vertical, and diagonal are actually examples or types of collaboration that will show us the relationship, how the relationship is formed or how the organizations are formed. Like for example, horizontal is between organizations at the same channel. So same channel or what we consider direct competition. So looking at the airline company, at an airline company, its direct competitors are the other airlines. So if they merge, okay, or if they collaborate, we consider that horizontal. And it doesn't mean only that it's one plus one. Sometimes it's one plus more. Okay, meaning not just one airline plus one airline, but it can be more. Like example, uh, the mega alliances. So next is vertical. So the vertical is between suppliers of a product and its buyers. Suppliers of a product and its buyers. Okay. So vertical can mean that if an airline company has their own website to sell air ticket, a vertical collaboration is possible between the airline company and the travel agency, or the airline company plus an online travel agency, because our vertical means supplier of the product. So who is the supplier of the product? The airline, because it supplies the seat, right? And who are the buyers? Like the bulk buyers. Bulk buyers can mean tour operator or travel agency. Okay? So that is what we call vertical. Vertical is from top to down. So next is diagonal. Diagonal means organizations in different sectors of the industries. So that is a collaborative activity of different organizations. Like for example, travel agency together with airline companies, together with hotels, together with resorts, together with restaurants. So that's what we consider diagonal. Still within the sector of tourism, but representing different sectors or different industries. Okay? So that is the relationship. Now, in terms of time, okay? In terms of time, we have short term, medium term, and long term. So, of course, short term means strictly limited focus. When we say strictly limited focus, it can be like, for example, at a certain moment only, like, for example, during the COVID pandemic only, or maybe during a peak season only. That's a short term. Then, medium term means tactical with a strong sense of self protections. In here, what we see as the time duration would be uh, would be medium term, in a sense that they would like to hold on together. They would like to become an interdependent organization, so that if one member benefit, the other members benefit as well. So let's look at the package tour. So what does a package tour contain? A package tour contains the airline, the accommodation, the activities, and even sometimes the restaurants, okay? So usually they form an alliance, or they collaborate in such a way that, of course, if I benefit from the passengers who will be riding my plane, or who will be, yeah, will be taking the flight, I can also pass on the benefit to my partner hotel. And my partner hotel can also pass it to the other restaurants within the area. And the activities within the area can also be connected. So they sometimes would give discounts. Like if you book your ticket through this, then we can give you 5%. Or if you purchase your entrance ticket from this company or from this business, I can also give you a discount, or it can be a lower price. Okay, so that's medium term, that is protecting each other. That's why it says here strong sense of self protection. And then the long term involve continuity and a high degree of commitment, meaning they stick to each other, aside from, of course, becoming interdependent with each other. They stick together. Like for example, in a hotel, so they usually don't, like if it's a long term commitment, they may not be able to, I would say, accept guests from other airlines, not who are not coming from or using other airlines who are not members of that organization. Okay, so I would say that we can use the term here limited, limited only to the members, like uh, an airport lounge. Okay, an airport lounge is a good benefit. It's a plus thing. It's a plus factor to people who are usually traveling. And you cannot, before, in the very first introduction of the airport lounge, there's no value involved, meaning to say, airport lounge is only good for valued passengers of the airline or maybe credit card users. And not just simply credit card users, but you have to spend a certain amount. Now, in terms of the airline, for give you the access to the airport lounge, you have to also fly a certain miles. And so, when we say long term, maybe they're the only airport lounge in that particular airport, but they do not allow other, okay, other airlines to get in to their airport lounge because they are committed that they're only partnered with airline A, B, C, and D. So if you're coming from the other airlines from E onwards, we you cannot be accommodated. So that's how they collaborate. Okay? And so in that case, sometimes it pushes people to make a decision of, let's say, okay, lesson learned. So that I can have an access to that airport lounge, I have to use this airline. Or if I want to get certain discount for the hotel, I have to get this airline. Or the other way around. If I want to discount to an airline, then I have to book in this hotel. Okay? So I hope this is clear. Now, let's move on to technology. Another theme for um, for this tourism and hospitality marketing agenda. Okay, moving on to the second theme for tourism and hospitality marketing. Let's look at what is technology's role for this tourism and hospitality marketing. I would say that technology is always a catalyst for industrial change. It's not only within tourism and hospitality businesses or industries, but even in other businesses, especially in manufacturing. So the search engines became the new bridge between the consumer and the supplier. Why do we say this? Because in the early times of the practice of tourism, people would usually use a travel agent to book their airline ticket, to ask for a hotel accommodation, or maybe to request the travel agency to create a travel package for them. But nowadays, these intermediaries, like for example, tour operator or travel agencies, are not as important as before due to the presence of search engines. And I think you have also experienced this that you can already book your own air ticket using online travel agencies. What are example of online travel agencies? We have Orbitz, we have Kayak, we have Priceline, we have Skyscanner. You don't need to go to a physical space like a travel agent to ask for a quote about your ticket price, to ask for the best date when to fly, especially if you are considering your budget. So you can do it by yourself. And that became possible because of technology. There's also the emergence of meta search engines. So, what are these meta search engines? Meta search engine or search aggregator is an online information retrieval tool that uses the data of a web search engine to produce its own results. So, what does it usually do is to take input from a user, like for example, you are looking for a flight and the flight that you're looking for has budget constraint. And so you as a user will be assisted, and immediately this meta search engine will query search engines for results. And so sufficient data is gathered, ranked, and presented to the users. So when you search for travel ticket, like you can just type Incheon to Pakistan, or maybe Uzbekistan to Incheon, and then while you're searching, usually the computer intelligence will do the searching for you and will give you several suggestions, especially suggestions in relation to pricing. So these meta search engines get the prices from suppliers, they collect, they analyze, and distribute the offered pricing by all other intermediaries. So the good thing here is there's no bias. You're given an option to choose what online travel agency would you use depending on your considerations, like for example flight time, or maybe I would say the budget, which is most common for all people, or even the date. Okay, I would like to show you here an example of Kayak. Okay, so in Kayak, I used my own account, and what you see here is actually information about the site. Like for example, I have tried typing here Daegu and then going to Asia. You see that there's no particular destination in Asia. I just want to see what this website will recommend me in terms of the time that I would like to travel. So I've set here 10/31 or October 31 until November 7. So if you see here on the screen, there are several suggestions from this site, okay? And it says here that if I want to go to Seoul, okay, this is the price. If I want to go to Tokyo, this is the price. To Hong Kong, to Hanoi, to Ho Chi Minh, and to Bangkok. So if I am a potential traveler and I'm searching for a place to go, I mean, I don't have anything in particular. It's just that I want to spend that free time to going to another destination. Then I can select from the suggested destinations by Kayak, where would I go? And so not only the time frame of the travel is here, but also the recommended or the suggested budget. So it says from, because it may depend on the flight time, it may depend on the day also. And here, I can also program, okay, how would I like to go to that destination? Would I be considering any stop, meaning to say if I can be rerouted, if the price is cheaper, I would prefer that way, or I would prefer to go there with only one stop, or I don't want any inconvenience of dropping by to another airport, but instead going directly to the destination. You see here also that the budget can be set. Like, for example, if you have a certain budget for that particular travel trip, okay, then you can set your budget. And in that case, Kayak will only give you suggestions within your budget. And also, it suggests the travel time. Because sometimes, even though you're just going to Hong Kong, but it will reroute you to another destination, especially if you're getting a cheap ticket. Okay? Then, what type of trip? Why am I traveling to that destination? What's my objective? Here, there are choices like anything can be done, or I want to go to the city, or I want to spend the time in the beach, or I'm traveling with my family, or maybe I just got married and I would like to, experience my honeymoon in that place, or I want something adventure. That's why it's cold here, outdoor sea, or am I going there for a food trip? Then here, you will also see some options Like, for example, this is airline. This represents hotel, this icon. Then this is about renting a car. Then I cannot remember what's this one. And then also this is the extra baggage. Okay, I think this is something like a cost savings. If you are curious, then you can, try booking by yourself and see, navigate the website. What will it give you? So my point here is this is what technology has done into our tourism and hospitality industry. Okay, so I've used Kayak because I want to present to you a case related to Kayak. So let me read this and let's try to see what is the secret or, what are the elements of their success. So Kayak is one of the world's leading travel meta search companies. Kayak offers a leading meta search service, allowing travelers to conveniently find the best itineraries and prices from hundreds of travel websites at once, including airline tickets, accommodation, rental car services, and vacation packages. In addition to Kayak.com, Kayak manages a portfolio of several meta search brands, namely Momondo, Ship Flights, Swoodoo, Check Felix, and Monday. Kayak now offers services in more than 20 languages in over 60 countries, with the United States as its largest market, processing more than 2 billion consumer queries per year. In 2012, Kayak officially went public, raising 91 million in an IPO. IPO means initial public offering. That's according to the data given by Bloomberg Technology in 2012. The following year, Kayak was acquired by Booking Holdings Incorporated, the world leader in online travel-related services, but it's still managed independently as a subsidiary of Booking Holdings Incorporated. In just over 10 years, since its establishment in 2004, Kayak has developed into one of the most successful travel meta-search companies in the global market. So at this point, let's see what are the three elements to their success. Their success can be boiled down to three key elements. First is their business model. Steve Hafner, a founder of Kayak, recognized the elasticity of travelers after working as executive vice president at Orbitz. Orbitz is another online travel agency, realizing that only a small percentage of users had actually booked through their website, usually bypassing the transaction fees charged by Orbitz. That's the reason why most of the passengers or those who are looking for tickets don't go to Orbitz because they charge for a transaction fee. And buying directly from airline and hotel companies. So this is according to Fast Company in 2008. Therefore, instead of charging customers the transaction fees, Kayak made a cost per click model, meaning to say anybody who will go to that website and check something, they get a certain fee, okay? That started selling hotel reservations and flights on kayak.com and earning a commission from suppliers by Forbes 2016. So who are the suppliers? These are all the products that they sell. Like for example, air ticket, hotel, or even rent-a-cars. And sometimes they would sell like a package for people who doesn't have enough time to come up with a package tour. So another key element to their success was their acquisition of competitors. Remember collaboration, which is a recent topic, okay? So this is a very wise strategy because instead of competing in the market, instead they acquire competitors. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm wrong on that. Acquisition of competitors means instead of competing with them, they bought Okay, not collaboration. They bought, meaning to say they own and manage their competitors. So, to continue, Kayak acquired Sidestep, a rival travel search company in 2007, and completely migrated Sidestep.com traffic to Kayak.com. That was in 2011, which consequently increased Kayak's scale and improved its search algorithm. Kayak started international expansion by acquiring Swoodo, a German travel search engine in 2010, and Jabo Software, which operated Checkfelix, a travel search engine in Austria, in 2011. So these are according to the reports of this company TechCrunch in the news. The largest recent acquisition was Momondo Groups, which includes Momondo and Cheap Flights. Maybe you've heard of Cheap Flights. And two meta-search brands that have strong market presence in the UK, the Nordics, and Russia. The most important reason for their incredible growth is that Kayak has innovated their services in the travel meta-search industry by pursuing their mission. Remember that we talked about like marketing strategies, and we've also discussed goals and objectives and mission and vision. And that's how important having a mission is, because the mission actually directs your business towards the vision or the direction that you would like to go. To help people experience the world by creating their favorite travel tools. Okay? Unlike other travel meta search sites, Kayak launched the Kayak Booking Path in 2011 in order to improve user experience. Users no longer had to leave Kayak's platform and could book directly from kayak.com. In 2013, Kayak added a fare forecast function to its flight search results, such that users would be able to see price predictions, whether the fare would rise or fall, and its confidence level. Kayak's most innovative service is a voice powered hotel booking service that allows customers to book hotels via Amazon's smart speakers. In the current highly competitive travel meta search industry, with aggressive rivals including TripAdvisor, Trivago, Skyscanner, Google, Kayak will keep on innovating their business. So, looking back at Kayak success, there are three key elements to Kayak success. First is their business model. Second is the acquisition of competitors. And the third one is innovative services such as forecast function. If you can still visualize the Kayak website that I have shown you, they usually have like forecast prices for every country that you would like to travel, so that if in case you are trying to plan for a future booking, or for booking like for example for the next couple of months, then it can give you an idea how much is the airfare during your targeted time of travel. Then they also have voice powered hotel booking via Amazon's smart speakers. So here we can see that there's a collaboration done with Amazon. So sometimes, it's so hard to use your fingers, especially if you're a little bit old and you're not very good in typing. And for some people, it's more convenient to talk instead of keying words, or instead of keying search. So through Amazon smart speakers, then it can connect you to booking a hotel. Okay, so moving on, let's look at tourism and web 2. Okay, tourism and Web 2. But before we go to this, let me just give you a little about the Web 2, although you will see it on the next slide. Web 2 is also known as a participative or participatory and social websites. Okay, so these are the websites that emphasize user generated content, ease of use, participatory culture, and interoperability. Meaning to say, this Web 2 can be used with other products because of its compatibility. The systems and devices are also compatible for end users. Now, if we are interested to know what is Web 2, Web 2 is a term used to describe a variety of website applications that allow anyone to create and share online information or material they have created. There are a number of different types of Web 2, okay? Applications such as wikis, blogs, social networking, and podcasting, and many more. Okay, so now we're ready to look at tourism and Web 2. So we're trying to connect now the industry to technology. What has technology done to the industry? So let's look at some of the details that I have here. First, in the past, okay, suppliers were the feeders of information to the consumers. Who are the suppliers? The airline companies, the hotels, travel agencies. These are suppliers. And from them, they usually, like for example, give information on flights, on hotel reservations, and probably for travel agencies, tour packages. Moving forward, as the industry or as the time progresses, reviewers were born. Who are the reviewers? The reviewers are a group of people. They're all, remember, we're talking about the activities happening in the web, okay? Or the technologies happening, the technologies within the tourism industry. What did it bring, okay, to change the dynamics of the business? So, reviewers was born. Who are the reviewers? Reviewers are also websites, of course, managed by its creator, like, for example, Lonely Planet and Frommer's and Michelin. So, Lonely Planet and Frommer's are sites that gives information about travel. So, we call it a travel guide. While Michelin is actually a website that features restaurants with high quality standard of dining, okay, and people usually believe that when these companies would usually tell something about the company, like for example about their experience in flight or experience in a particular hotel or probably in eating out, usually people would believe them because of course it's considered like a word of mouth, okay, online word of mouth, because it's like a testimony of someone who has used the product. Before the origination of Web 2, Web 2.0, consumers enjoyed the literature provided by these intermediaries. We consider them intermediaries because they try to connect the supplier, who are, as I've said, the airlines, the hotels, and the travel agencies, and the customers. Okay? So they are in between because they try to convince the passengers, the would be passengers or the customers to participate or not participate, but to patronize these products or to purchase these products. However, because they're paid, okay, they're paid reviewers, companies would usually pay them to advertise their company. And so, when you are paid, when you are incentivized to say something, you will definitely be saying all the good things. You will not be saying bad things that happen because, of course, that will become a negative impression about the establishment. And so, because all reviews, okay, and people are smart enough to find out that there are biases. So, there comes the question of credibility. So people started thinking why they keep on mentioning these restaurants, and if people who have experienced that restaurant and their experience is not something pleasant, then definitely they will try to think that why is Frommer's or why is Lonely Planet still recommending these places where in fact it's not definitely unacceptable when it comes to the standard. Okay, and so from then on, they lost faith in the medium, or what we call this reviewers. Now, because of the entrance of the Web 2.0, consumers trust the reviews of their peers. Like we call it the peers. Peers would be people who are really consumers of the product, who have experienced it. They are not paid, but they are just happy to share with other people, to connect with other people and share what they have experienced from that particular business. So consumers trust the reviews of their peers more than the traditional marketing channels. What are the traditional marketing channels? These are the websites that are usually endorsing. Okay, so it's a third party, or maybe it's a third party. So now, okay, now we have the more description about Web 2.0. It's a new generation of internet-based technology wherein there are sites, applications, services, and processes are all put together. So people collaborate and share information. Okay? So Web 2 led to the emergence of the P2P, or what we call peer-to-peer marketing and review sharing. In other words, we call this peer-to-peer marketing, like it's a sort of like a word of mouth wherein people would usually say something about the place. Okay? And the something is an idea or an information that people can use to make decisions, or to make decisions of their travel action. So through this, instead of doing the traditional market research, because market research before is done in a traditional way, like for example, they would usually pay a research company to actually do research about the customer's behavior, their needs, their wants, their preferences. But now they don't need it. They just have to generate what people are saying through social media. And because there's a lot of feedbacks about something, businesses now can come up with a specialized product, or a product that is customized to the needs of the customers. That's now the beauty of the Web 2.0 combined with tourism. So we will discover more. Okay, so we just have to find out what is the role of this technology in terms of the marketing activities of both tourism and hospitality. Now, there is another thing happening in connection to tourism, in connection to technology, and this is what we call the big data. So, the big data, because the name is big, it says about the increasing volume, velocity, variety, and the variability and complexity of information. Because everybody now is trying to upload feedbacks, reviews, and even photos, everything. Consumers are they're very generous in sharing information. Sometimes, when you use a hashtag, like for example, KMU, it when they do the search of KMU, they will see your photo. Okay? And so a lot of people keeps on uploading reviews in probably images. And so there's a lot of information now. So this, on a positive note, can drive new strategies and product improvements. It also has the ability to establish deeper customer relationships and extend the customer cycle. What can it do? Like for example, If a feedback is something positive, then maybe the establishment can, can email if it's used, not email, but can probably send a message or give a feedback using also social media. If, say, for example, it was in Facebook, and then they can develop relationship. If it's something negative, then the businesses can probably patch it up and convince again the customers who are giving a negative feedback to try the service. Okay? So, this big data is where the information uh, is delivered for companies' improvement. Because, of course, if you are concerned about your business, definitely whatever feedback you get from your customer is very precious, or it's valued, because it will put your business on its target position. Okay, so buying patterns, locational movements, and purchasing behavior are trackable. So because they have all the data, then the buying pattern would be like, for example, if you go to kayak during winter break, because that's your time to, to travel, or during summer break, they see when do you usually buy. And that gives them the idea that, okay, you go to this place, probably blah, blah, blah. Locational movement. So if this traveler traveled during the summertime, these are the places that she visited. And also, they will see whether when you purchase something, you are budget conscious, or you are more on a type wherein you're willing to spend money as long as the business is, or as long as the place, like for example, the hotel is nice, or are you someone who is, always looking for a good deal. So they can see that, okay? The big data can see that. And so here, the right information is imperative for marketing strategies. Remember, the reason why we're studying marketing is for us not just to study marketing per se, but for us to understand how this unit of organization come up with strategies to reach its uh, mission and its goals. Okay? So we have here a sample of how big data is gathered in tourism and hospitality through the use of MasterCard. As we all know that most people would usually use a credit card when purchasing. Gone are the days that um, you pay your purchase using cash, but nowadays you always purchase a product using credit card, especially if it's online, or you can use like an Apple Pay, or maybe Alipay, or even what's the other one that I'm using? I forgot. PayPal. Okay, so let's see what this case would like to tell us. So, big data is becoming one of the most frequently used buzzwords in today's tourism industry. Given its robust characteristics, like the volume, or what we call amount of the data, velocity, which we call the speed of the data, and variety, that talks about the data types and sources, big data provides valuable insights for practitioners' decision making processes by allowing them to track and analyze consumer behaviors such as transaction, purchasing patterns, and recommendations. In addition to benefiting businesses, big data can provide better targeted services and products to travelers through personalized marketing and targeted product designs. So, again, I think we talked about personalization and customization before as one of the trends happening in what's this in this industry. So, sometimes, if you do not know your target market, you're just wasting money because you just keep on creating marketing material without really knowing who your group of market is. But if you know specifically where to direct your advertisement and your marketing effort, then we can make sure that uh, whatever expense we set aside for marketing is worth it because it delivers uh, what is it for. Okay, so it's a very simple case. And to continue, okay, there are several challenges for the businesses and DMOs, or what we call destination manager organizations, regarding the utilization of the big data. This is now where the problem is coming from. Okay, so identifying the right data, interpreting the data to find meaningful insights, aggregating and managing it, and maintaining its security. We all know the beauty that the technology can bring us. However, we can say that even though there's beauty, or whenever there's positive, there are also negative things or negative impacts that it can bring. So, in order to overcome these obstacles and leverage big data to drive tourism revenue, MasterCard, a technology company in the global payments industry, provides one of the leading services, which is MasterCard Tourism Insights. So, because they are an intermediary, they are used, okay, to purchase products, they are helping the suppliers on how to come up with strategies by providing them with information. So, with the vast transaction data, more than 160 million transactions per hour from more than 200 countries and territories, sophisticated data analytics and expertise, MasterCard Tourism Insights afford practitioners the following valuable information: a 360 degrees view of travel cycles, from meaning to say from the beginning of the trip, to after trip or post trip, as well as aggregated and timely insights. With insight on pre to post trips, practitioners can gain a better understanding of travelers' plans, interests, preferences, such that practitioners can wisely invest in channel marketing. That's according to the research done by MasterCard. Provided with all the aggregated and anonymized spending data, coupled with social sharing, perceptions, sentiments, and experiences, practitioners no longer have to deal with irrelevant data. On top of that, unlike static reports and surveys that can soon become outdated, MasterCard Tourism Insights provides timely data in such a way that practitioners can stay on top of changeable market trends and travelers' preferences. Through these valuable insights, MasterCard help tourism practitioners gain market share as well as enhance the traveler's experience. So, the winning is both sides. The practitioners win because they don't need to, to gather the big data, but instead they can just rely on MasterCard's report regarding on how the travelers behave. Like, for example, as it was said here, they can generate the data from the pre to post trips. Then they can understand travelers' patterns, interests, and preferences. And so these practitioners can wisely invest in the marketing channel. So if in case they know all these things, then they can really hit the target market, and the best, remember, the piece in marketing, the mix, and the right place to promote the product. And this will benefit both the practitioners because they gain market share, and on the other hand, for the customers or travelers, they can enhance the traveler's experience. So that's why technology is really, it's really important in this kind of business, especially now that, people are relying more on the technology for information. Okay, so we'll move on to the next and the last theme for tourism and hospitality, which is experience. So the last theme that we have for tourism and hospitality marketing is about experiences. I will only discuss a very little details about experiences because there is basically another lesson that will focus experiences in marketing. So this chapter about collaboration, technology, and experiences is only an introduction to what we will see as we look at tourism and hospitality marketing in the context of the three themes, which are again collaboration, technology, and experiences. So I'd like to start by giving you a scenario. And this scenario would basically give you an idea of what is an experience economy. But before we look into this example or scenario, let me just give you what is an experience economy. Remember that we talked about the economies of the business, wherein we started with the agrarian economy, where we said that all the produce are basically not differentiated. So everything is almost the same. And then moving on as they progresses, then products became differentiated, and we move on to the manufacturing or production stage. And in this stage, people have more choices. Products were differentiated. It's because of the presence of the manufacturing companies and the I would say the automation of the production. And then we move on to service economy, wherein we said that aside from purchasing the product, together with the product is the service that comes with it. And I think I have given you an example about the service economy we're in. That's example of service economy, something which is outside the hospitality. When I said when you purchase like a washing machine, what comes together with a washing machine is a kind of service. Like when you purchase the washing machine, it will be delivered to you, and of course, once it's there in your house, you cannot use it yet because it has to be unboxed and pipes has to be connected, like for example the water pipe, and you have to find a drain where the water when you empty your washing machine will go through. So to make it short, I would like to say that that is a very good example of the service economy wherein people purchase things, not only the things per se, but they also look into the service that is attached to it, like the service of a technician who will unbox and install your machine, or the after sales if in case time will come that you need something to be repaired. And then moving forward, we move on to the experience economy, wherein when we say experience, people are buying things, for experience. Like, for example, I would say that sometimes it's not the usual thing that you do, like maybe dining in a fine, classy restaurant, but because you want to have the feel of how does it feel to eat a very expensive steak, or how does it feel to being assisted by so many waiters as you dine. And it's not just the food. What comes with it, it's not the food initially, but it's something bigger than the food. And I would like to say that that is what we call the experience economy. People would want to satisfy themselves not only by consuming the product, not only by experiencing the services, but a combination of this product and service, and what kind of experience they will get when these two products are combined. And the experience should be something that is pleasant, something that will delight them, something that will satisfy them and will make them happy. So that when time comes again, they will go back or will have a repeat business, and not just repeat business, but hoping that they would you know, do some word of mouth advertising. Word of mouth is something some people are not intentionally doing, but because they are happy, they're delighted, they really enjoy the experience, and so there are instruments of advertising the place, or maybe the package, or maybe the hotel, or the experience when they ride that plane. So let's see what is the experience that is actually here on the screen. So, because I'm Filipino, I would like to use my nationality as an example for this tourism and the experience economy. So, there is a Filipino couple looking to spend a week on the beach in Hawaii will have two very different perceptions. So, because there are two couple, the husband and the wife, okay, or maybe the boyfriend and the girlfriend. However, sometimes even though they're couple, they have different perceptions, different opinions, and different options. Especially in this case, choosing their vacation destination. So they're thinking whether to go to Oahu or Maui. And Maui, that's their choices. Oahu and Maui. So, what are the reasons why they have considered these two options? So, if we look at the second bulleted sentence here, it says that what tourists primarily seek and consume at destinations is engaging experiences, accompanied by the goods and the service components of the destinations. Like what I've said, the product together with the service is equal to the experience. Okay? So experiences are varied. When we say experiences are varied, experiences can be a form of entertainment, it can be something that is aesthetic, and it can be educational, or maybe it's something that gives you a new environment or a new space. That's why we call it escapist. Now, your duty after you read this one is to find out what are these strategies in relation to experience economy: entertainment, aesthetic, educational, and escapist. So, if you are the business owner and you know your audience needs and desires, then you can be effective in your marketing, because needs and desires of your audience or your target market is fundamental in marketing. So, as I've said, if you want to dig deeper about this one. So, okay, but I think I have to give you the answer. So, hospitality and the experience economy, like for example, in the lodging. So, tourists and travelers can stay in many different styles of lodging. So, how do we understand now the difference between escapist, experience, aesthetic, and the other one is education? Here, I created an example to really differentiate the different strategies. Remember, the four E's here are the strategies of experience economy. First is experience seekers, okay, are looking to completely immerse themselves in the culture. So, immerse themselves in the culture means that they want to um, they want to really be part of the activity. Like as I've said here, the escapists are people who would like to be part. So they would like to immerse themselves in the cultures. Like for example, in that vacation package, let's again continue the example from the previous slide, assuming that the couple chose Oahu and they are now in a travel resort in Oahu. If we will try to, explain experience strategies using their experience, okay, in that particular place, there are four types. First is escapist, second is entertainment, third is aesthetic, and the fourth one is educational. Okay, I forgot to highlight education here. So, when we say escapist, a very good example of this strategy is, let's say, for example, the woman, okay, or the lady is somebody who is known in the culinary world, okay, like a chef, and you know that maybe she wanted to, because if it's your passion, what you usually would like to do is to share your passion to other people, even though you are in that island for vacation. But when an opportunity comes to you to express your passion, you usually give in to that, okay, that opportunity. So an example of escapist is, I said that the lady or the wife is actually a chef. Then maybe what can qualify as as an escapist would be like if they will be staying there in 4 days, 3 nights. There is one night wherein that lady who's a chef will showcase her ability. Or maybe another example is, let us try to imagine that this couple is there near the pool or in the poolside and listening to a band. Okay, so there's an entertainment in the island that they went to, and there's a band that is singing, and the band invited the people to jam with them. And so the guy, okay, the man that the couple I'm referring to would really enjoy the place. And as part of his enjoyment, that call of the band to jam with them, to sing with them, here comes the man going to the stage and rendering a song to to the public, to the people who are there in the island. So that's an example of an escapist experience. Okay, you follow. Then another is entertainment. Entertainment means you are not participating in the activity, but you are being entertained by looking at the performance of the locals. Like in Oahu, they have the Hawaiian dance, okay? And so instead of the band that I did mention in my first example, they have like a traditional dance performance. And so this is an example of an entertainment strategy. You follow? Okay. Then for the aesthetic, so in between, tourists who are seeking an aesthetic experience is looking for a deeper experience by immersing in a local culture. Like for example, the couple are not looking forward to have that kind of breakfast that they enjoy at home, but instead, they would like to experience what the local people are eating for breakfast. Okay? And so they were served the breakfast, but this time not beside the pool, but a breakfast in front of a sunrise. Okay? So that is something that what we call aesthetic is. So aesthetic would be immersing yourself in the local culture so that you can really feel how it feels to be Hawaii in that time. And then educational activity is, or education is, when tourists are seeking for educational activity. Like for example, I mentioned the wife. The wife actually performed as a guest chef a night ago, but this time she's interested to learn how the people from Hawaii prepare their cuisines. And so there is a cooking show, there's a cooking demonstration, and so she learned, she watched, and she was invited to be part of cooking the local dish. So that's how we differentiate the strategies in terms of an experience economy. Sometimes people would like to experience all of it, but sometimes people would only want entertainment, or maybe would want only to really get rest. So you have to understand what is the objective, what's the motivation of people when they go to the destination that you offer. Okay, so I hope you understand the difference between the four strategies: escapist, entertainment, aesthetic, and education. We can, if you don't, then probably we can have a time to look at this again after the midterm exam. Okay? So, what are the hallmarks of an event? This is still part of what we call experience economy. So, a hallmark event is a major one time or recurring events of limited duration. This is developed primarily to enhance the awareness, appeal, and profitability of a tourism destination in a short or long term. Like Germany offers their Oktoberfest. Or like here in Korea, they have the Chimex, in Daegu specifically, they have the Chimex Festival, okay? Or maybe like in Boryong, which is another place in Korea, they have the Boryong Mad Fest. And so, this hallmark events, it can be a festival or an event, it leaves a guest with personalized memories. And again, when there's a memory and that memory is something good, that's what we call experience economy or the experience. Okay? So, to close, what is the future of the experience economy? In the experience economy, anything is possible. So, when experience meets collaboration and technology, there is no limit to the creativity that one may witness in this new economy. As the experience economy moves forward, airlines could collaborate with resorts, enabling passengers to walk around and view all amenities, stroll the white sands, and check in and book excursions while on air. So everything can be done all at the same time. And this is what are the themes that we would like to focus as we look at this tourism and hospitality marketing. So at this point, this ends the chapter for collaboration, technology, and experiences. And as I've said, this is covered in your midterm exam. I hope you learned something from this presentation, and I hope you will study really hard for your midterm exam.